I'm finally qualified to apply for Portuguese citizenship. Yay! After 5 glorious years, I wanted to make it official. So I'm making a video today about the exact process that I went through, all the documents that I needed and the steps that I took. So if you're thinking of doing the same, either now or in the future, you'll know what to expect. So first off, a bit of context. I am British. Shocker, I know, but it's true. And I moved to Lisbon in the spring of 2017. So that means the 5 years that I needed to qualify for citizenship is now up. So for us Brits, we have been in a little bit of limbo since the dreaded B word came along. And by that I mean Brexit, not Boris, although both of them are. But if you are like me and you were living here before Brexit, then you do qualify for the new Brexit residency card that they're giving to British people. It has taken a long time to roll out, but you should have signed up for this already on the kind of CEF Brexit portal. And they're now actually giving out appointments in Lisbon. So I just went for mine on Friday, where they took my photo, fingerprints, got all my up-to-date information. And then this residency card is supposed to be valid for another 5 years, regardless of when your original certificate would have expired. So that's the information I have. Hope that's correct. It's all a bit of a mystery, but you can go to their website to check. If you are looking to move to Portugal after Brexit, then you do have to follow the same process that all other nationalities outside of the EU have to follow. I don't know anything about that, but I will link some links in the description that may help you out. But don't ask me any more than that, because I don't know, I didn't do it. So all the information that I'm going to give you about the citizenship process is relevant to my situation, which is of course unique to me. You may have a different situation if you have, for example, Portuguese family or a Portuguese spouse. Maybe you're using the Golden Visa program, but everything that I'm telling you is relevant to my situation. You can all change at any time, so make sure you do your own research. So the first thing that you need is proof that you have been here for 5 years. So for me, I used the original residency document that I was given. The next thing you need is a copy of your birth certificate. Now, not your actual birth certificate. You have to go and request a copy, and that has to be less than 6 months old. So again, I can only speak to the experience for British people, but you can do this online on the gov.uk website. I will also link that in the description. I think it cost £11 to just get that copy. Now, the important thing to remember here is that this needs to be sent to a UK address so that it can be then sent off to be legalized in the UK. Okay, you can't just have the document and then bring it to Portugal and show it. It has to have attached what's called an apostille, which means that yes, the UK has verified that this is an official and legitimate document. All right, so what I did is I sent this to my mum, and then she did the process of sending it to get legalized. Again, I will include the link in the description for anyone British watching. That's what we needed to do, and it cost, I think, £35 per document that you get legalized. So it is quite a bit of a long process. You have to request the birth certificate, then send it off, then have it returned to you with an apostille, and then she sent it to me in Portugal. The second document that you need is a police certificate. So this is where they can check that you're not dodgy. It's quite a long form, and you are going to have to fill in your addresses, your past addresses in the UK for a number of years, which for someone like me who's moved around a lot is really annoying, but I got it done. And you'll also need to appoint somebody as a referee. So this is somebody that they can call up and check that you are who you say you are. So it can't be a family member, and it does have to be from like a certain list of professions. So I asked a friend of mine who is a teacher to do that for me. Hi, Emily. So this one also needs to be sent off to the legalization office as well to be verified. So my mum is a pro now at all of this paperwork. She had to do it all for the wedding as well. If you haven't seen that video and all the fun things that went on there, you can check that out a little bit later as well. So once my mum had received those with the apostille, she sent them over to me here, and now I have to get them translated and legalized again. So I went to the same people that I used for the wedding documents because they were super reliable and professional, but I had learnt my lesson. Again, if you've seen this video, you will know why. You absolutely have to make sure that the translations are correct before you leave the translator's office, because if anything is wrong, those papers will be rejected and you'll have to go through the whole process again. So even if you don't understand Portuguese, you need to make sure that you're checking the spellings of names, addresses, and checking that dates are correct, okay? Because these are the things that you can check yourself, whether they're right or wrong, okay? It should be glaringly obvious. So I did actually catch a mistake in my home address, the way it was written. To be fair, that wasn't their fault. The way it was written on the birth certificate in handwriting was kind of difficult to read, but I did get that rectified before I left the office, because I sat down and I was like, do you mind if I just take a minute to look through these? And they were really cool about it. So that was able to be rectified. So before I left the office, I knew that everything was sorted. I do highly recommend these guys, so I'm going to link them in the description as well. They actually take care of the legalizing in the same place as well. It's also a lawyer's office. So this is really handy, because sometimes you would give them to a translator and then you'd have to go and meet them at a notary's office to get it all officially signed off anyway. So that's another extra step that you don't need to do. You can go to people like these who get it all done in one place. So if things are looking good and you have all of those documents, the last piece of the puzzle is the Portuguese language test. Now, before you panic, you only need to reach an A2 level. Now, that's an upper beginner, and I explain it as able to hold basic, practical, short conversations. Now, there's been very little information about this exam available online, so I have made 2 videos about this, which you should definitely check out next. One all about how it works and how to prepare, and another one that explains exactly what happened when I went and sat the exam with my husband last year. Bear in mind that it can be different in each exam centre, so I went to the one at the Faculdade de Letras in Lisbon. So it certainly does vary, and the experience isn't the same for everybody, particularly when it comes to the speaking exam, but the reading, writing and listening part is standard. So spoiler alert, I did really well, as you would hope as a Portuguese teacher. The listening is definitely the hardest part. I definitely got 1 or 2 of those wrong because the questions are kind of confusing, even though if you've understood what you've heard, the way they phrase the questions sometimes can be a bit confusing and you don't have quite enough time to really think about it. But I would love to know why I only got 99 out of 100 for the speaking and the writing. Like, where did that other 1% go? Can't you tell I was raised as a perfectionist? So if the last part about speaking Portuguese made you panic and you thought, oh God, I better get started with that, luckily you found the right channel to help you. I publish practical Portuguese lessons in plain English every week. So if you need those, I would love for you to join this lovely YouTube community. I also have a free lesson for beginners where we get started on the most important aspects of the language, pronunciation, how to understand it when people speak in real life, and also some of the most important fundamentals of grammar. So go ahead and click the link in the description to register for that. So that's all the documents sorted that you need. They then need to be submitted to the civil registry. Now, one big piece of advice that I was given is try and submit these outside of a big city. All right, as you can imagine, Lisbon has a huge backlog of cases that they need to go through. So I was actually recommended to go to the one in Santarém to get these submitted. Once it's been filed, you will get a file number and an access code that you can then use to track the progress of your application. Now, I have no idea how long this is going to take to get back. I'm thinking upwards of a year. It's better to have low expectations and just be pleasantly surprised. So I'm just going to forget about it now, but I will certainly update you when I have my new Portuguese passport. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments what else I can help you with in terms of settling into life in Portugal. And I'll be back at the same time next week with one of my usual language lessons. Ciao for now.